Good evening, everybody. This is the Taft City Council Successor Agency, and it's a joint regular meeting for Tuesday, December 1st, 2015, here at Taft City Hall Council Chamber. For the courtesy, would you please check your phones and make sure they're on vibrate or on mute? We'll start out with a Pledge of Allegiance given by our Mayor Pro Tem Noor, and then we'll have a moment of silence for our invocation.
You all join me, please, in saluting our nation's flag, and over your heart, and pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As we think of our soldiers and sailors and airmen overseas and away from home, let's give them a moment of thanks and a moment of prayer. Thank you. I remember being overseas 2 Christmases. It was kind of lonely when you're yearning to be around family. Madam Clerk, will you take roll call, please?
Mayor Miller.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Noor.
Here.
Councilmember Cryer.
Here.
Councilmember Bryant.
Here.
Councilmember here.
All right, our first item on the agenda is our study session, the Graphic Solutions presentation on city signage.
Thank you, Mayor. For the 2 council members that were on the council back before the economic downturn, if you remember, Graphic Solutions did some work for the city of Taft. We did some branding and they did some preliminary design work on some signage for the city. We're getting back on track with some signage for the city, some wayfinding signage. So we've invited Graphic Solution to come over and give the council a presentation on the services they provide. So I'd like to introduce Simon with Graphic Solution. He'll give you a little presentation about the company and the services they could provide.
Good evening, thank you. It was a fun project to work with you and your group in the past, before the downturn. And I'm glad to see that things are on the upswing again.
There we go.
In Taft as well as elsewhere, and the subject is back on. In terms of Graphic Solutions, we work now with probably 60 or 70 different cities and downtowns around the state. And one thing for sure, a good wayfinding program is an integral part of an economic development strategy. So we designed a lot of those successfully, and we've got references to refer to. But I want to just recap about where we were with the work we were doing and how we might, springboard off of that and look for the future. So let's see. Get this. So our whole design effort was based on the history, of course, of Taft, and it had to do with energy, but we want it to be, sort of future-looking as well, not just anchored in the past, because as we discovered, the history is rich, but also we wanted to make a statement about where we're going. So we picked a really, aggressive kind of type font for the name of the city, and then we had this swirl, it was very dynamic, and then this little slogan, Energize for the Future. The idea being that not only the history of energy, but also the future of energy plays with the city. So we designed this brochure, and I think you're still using it for economic development work, just to introduce the city to people who don't really know about all the great things that Taft has to offer. So then the next thing was how to get people into the city who are passing by or getting close. So we designed this, this was a design concept. We thought, well, why don't we build an oil derrick, next to a big, kind of a billboard sign. And I think the oil derrick went away, but we did do all the construction documents for the billboard sign. And I don't know if that was ever built yet or implemented, but it was ready to go, ready to be bid out by local contractors, so you could build it and put it up. And then to go with that, we had wayfinding signs. Once you got, really to city limits, be an entry sign, and then these wayfinding signs that would, it could look like this. We had a couple of versions of these things. This is one, but they would direct you, and this is the other version. It would direct you to various attractions and destinations within Taft. So the one on the left, we decided that there could be a unique look for the downtown area. That's really a historic area. And there were good reasons to sort of create a special district for the downtown historic district. So on the left-hand side, you see the logo that is like an adaptation of the larger citywide logo. It says historic downtown, and so there's a little different color scheme and so forth for the historic downtown district. A little different take. And then, dreaming, wouldn't it be great to have an entry sign that these become iconic for a place, so that whenever there's a news story about Taft, what always shows up is these gateway signs, these big arch signs. It takes a significant investment, but so far I've never heard of any regrets from any of the towns that have done these. It may not be the first item, the number one priority, but they are extremely effective. So we designed a couple of versions of this. This sign, this is one idea. This was another one that incorporates the slogans, proud of our heritage, energized for the future. There are different ways this could be interpreted. And we're open to, none of these have been built obviously yet, so we're open to your suggestions for how we could. And of course, they would be lit at night, obviously, and be like a beacon. Again, the wayfinding signs for the downtown area, the historic downtown, their unique look, and identifying parking areas and so forth. There's the idea of the trolley, and there'd be a trolley route map as well as directory. So we have the Taft Wildcat, that would be branded as well, the free trolley. So those are the concepts we had so far, and it'd be great if we could take it the next step. We could work with your...
You're going all the way back to the highway sign. You said 15 minutes from Taft. Was there a thought about where we were putting those?
Not specific location.
Nothing specific?
Obviously not in Caltrans.
That was just a concept.
It's a concept. We understood that there would be locations. There could be locations, not necessarily Caltrans, but either city rights of way or private land where you could make an arrangement with private landowner, and where there would be either power available or use solar to light these signs. Let's get back to that, because that's probably the most important sign just initially. This kind of sign, right? Yeah.
As we have a very rustic past, I think those are extremely contemporary signs. I mean, they're nice, but we are very rustic. I mean, to be an oil person is a rustic job. When we have Oil Dorado, it's very rustic. We have a downtown that still has a rustic feel to it. I think that they're very contemporary, and although I know we want to go towards the future, I think a little bit more rustic would be more appealing.
Well, at the time, I think the discussion at the time was, let's make a statement about, that would really separate us from maybe from an unknown to a real strong thing. And since it was used really for economic development, that was seen at the time, the folks who were on the committee at the time, as being more compelling.
Kind of looking at getting away from the past and looking to the future, and energized for the future was the thing that came up. And it's work. I mean,
maybe
we put it on everything.
So maybe, maybe it's time to rethink that.
Well, one of our
That was
immediate-
one of the ideas about separating the downtown and making that the historic heart.
Yeah, one of our immediate concerns right now is that we're getting ready to open a 60-room hotel. And we need something out on the highway, not only talk about Taft, but, hotel services, restaurants, that kind of thing.
So we should change some of that copy.
But when that
Make sure
started, they
there's
didn't have
logic.
the monument, and the monument is a kind of our pride and joy. I think that monument and the way that derrick is on that monument might be part of what we should kind of infuse into that to kind of give it, that is our character in this town. Anybody that knows us, we look at that monument as our deal. And it would seem that even taking that, sunburst and mixing it with the derrick part of the monument might be more appealing to a lot of
Yeah,
people.
we can modify these.
Yeah, we're not stuck in,
We're not stuck
Stuck
in
in
this.
stone.
I think it worked at the time. What has it been? It's been 6, 7 years now.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this is
And
2009.
maybe it's time to take another look,
I'd like to see the monument infused in that a little bit.
There's been several wonderful pictures taken of the monument. Mr. Keeler there has taken some incredible pictures of the monument, and you really get the face of the roustabout, if the lighting is just right. But I would have to agree that, that's the landmark. That truly is our landmark, and we'd be very, very proud of that.
And that kind of infuses both, the rusticness with the, that future thing. I like the sunburst, it kind of gives it that excitement, but our monument is something we are very, very proud of.
Well, they have on, if you go the other way, and in one page, they show the two different types of signage, which, more contemporary, less contemporary, and this being more of a blend of what you're talking about, Councilwoman, I would have to guess, but this right here,
Yeah, that was the idea.
still having the starburst, energized for the future, however, getting the flavor, the antique flavor and the color.
Getting the derrick in.
Well, we got 2 monument signs outside of town, brick and mortar kind of thing.
Right.
A tile surface, and they're way outdated, they're dark, they're unattractive. This is what we need to face on those, and then as we come into town, then we would have something that's, with the monument, with the hotels and the gas stations and that kind of stuff.
Even taking that really nice starburst sign and putting a derrick on the side of it. Giving it that flavor. Because the derrick is such a iconic thing to look at.
That's right, yeah.
It would be nice to blend that in somehow.
What's your thoughts, Craig?
Well, I agree that the monument is kind of our centerpiece of our city, and we need to kind of incorporate that into our branding. This is 6, 7 years ago, things have changed, and if we're gonna spend money, now's the time to update it and make it what we want. So, I would agree that, I don't know that we gotta scrap everything that they did, but it would be nice to have some community input on whatever we decide to do, if we decide to change our branding a little bit and
Like Councilwoman says, a blending of our heritage, if you will, with our direction, like the mayor is saying, energized for the future, because petroleum and petroleum products and hydrocarbons are not yesterday's energy. They will be the energy that will be used in the foreseeable future. My grandchildren will still be using it, and their children will still be using it. So we have an alternative energy source, if you will, in the United States called natural gas. We have lots of it. As long as an energy has to be subsidized by the government, it's not competing technology, it's R&D. So we will be doing this for a very long time.
Well, my thought is, we just gotta figure, no matter what we do, it's gonna cost money. So we either don't spend any money or set it aside or wait, or we start putting a couple of bucks in a pot and come up with, 10,000 or 100,000 or whatever amount we're gonna put in, and then back into it and start getting really serious about doing some signage. Then we can have meetings on, here we got this amount of money, here's what we wanna do, bring you in, get public input, whatever, let's come up with something. But it's time to do something. you know?
I was speaking...
Especially with the hotel coming in. I think that we need to let people know we're here. And if we have to go out, you know, down the highway, out by the freeway or whatever, we need something to brand TAP. We've got 2 petroleum highway signs that are not even in the city. And we paid for those with Caltrans, and they're about that big. So that's the only thing that's shown as a gateway into TAP until you really get up to the shopping center here, and, you know, you get right across the railroad track, or the old railroad tracks, and there's a sign there. So, and then the other one we've got down in Ford City. So, we just gotta decide how much we wanna spend. That's my thought.
This is a topic that came up during my first meeting during the Science Committee, and then when we spoke with the newly formed ad hoc committee. And it's obviously an important thing. So, and I know one of the things we talked about was finding out different design ideas and where they would fit. Ultimately saying, okay, this is what we would suggest to council, what would those costs be, and bringing that plan to council, not just saying, hey, here's an amount of money, what can we do to work within that, but hey, here's a plan, how do we plan for that money? So it's 2 sides of the same coin. But I agree, it's something we need to look at. I mean, definitely gonna cost money to put these things in, but you gotta think of the residual impact and how long that residual impact will last. What sales tax dollars does that bring into town? What transient occupancy tax dollars does that bring into town? So it's an investment in the future.
We don't have to invent the wheel, because he's already done that.
Absolutely.
He's done it with 70 cities, and so, other than, you know, you got ideas of what a sign looks like.
Yep.
It's just a matter of what we put on it, but how you know, showing different locations, what it looks like, traffic ways, all that kind of stuff, you've got all that, so
Right.
we don't have to
Yes,
figure
yeah.
that out. It's just coming up with what we want to put on the sign. And like many signs, you don't want it too busy, because people are going to drive by and they can't read all of it. It's going to take them 14 times to go by and say, oh yeah, that's what that says.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot that goes in on a signing that has to have an immediate impact. Now, you know, street signs, or, you know, parking and arrow signs, those can be, not too busy, but something like this, there's just so much you can put on it, so.
Yeah.
If we don't want to have the little swirly, and we're going to have the oil monument deal be our brand, then that's what we got to look at. But, energized for the future, you know, maybe it's 7 years old, maybe we need a new thought about that too, so.
Yeah, maybe so.
Have you seen our monument?
Sorry?
Have you seen our
Yeah.
monument?
But to your point, it may be more important to say, you know, new hotel instead of Energize for the Future, you know, to make that point.
I think we gotta be careful about.
I mean, we've got services here, people are driving down 119, they don't know what we have. So they
Of course, yeah.
wander in, we need signs out there that says, you know, we have a Chevron, we have a, you know, this, we have an Albertsons, we have restaurants, we have, you know, things that maybe people want to come in and visit, but we don't have one sign out on the highway that says anything about TAP at all.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly,
And
yeah.
Caltrans is not very helpful at all to help us with any kind of signage.
No, they're pretty restrictive in terms
Now, if
of,
we buy the signs, and install them, then they might put their little stamp of approval on them, but,
you buy signs and install them
Otherwise, they're not-
outside of the rights of way, then you
you know, a
have,
lot of communities have those signs that say, you know, 2 miles ahead, you know, these services available. I don't know if Caltrans puts those out there, or the various businesses pay for those, or the counties, or the cities, or whoever, but we need something out on the highway. That's my thought.
They'll have to go outside the Caltrans right away.
Yeah.
for this type of sign.
Yeah, we can do that. Be over a fence on somewhere. So what's our pleasure here? What do we want to do?
Well, I think the next step is have them put together a proposal on the services they can offer and what their charges are. My suggestion is we need a plan on paper. Figure out what our priorities are. The only way to do that is for the consultant to spend some time with the Signage Economic Development Committee, because that's the reason why we've formed it with planning commissioners, council members, business members, Chamber of Commerce, to get everyone's input. Simon's suggestion was we put together a group like that, and I said, well, we have a group like that.
You already got it.
Yeah.
We did that. He could get some input, put some things on paper, and then we can start sharing ideas. We could put together a written plan with priorities, the cost associated with those priorities. Then we can budget appropriately if it's over the next 5 years. We know what's going to cost what and what we can afford today and what we can afford next year, next budget.
Cities in Kern County, I know you did signage up at Tehachapi. Any other Kern County cities that you have done?
No, I can't.
You guys do Kalinga?
Sorry?
Kalinga? Did you guys do their sign? No.
So if you've ever been up to Tehachapi, they got some really nice signage up there.
Yeah. I like those.
I was really impressed with that.
Yeah, they're nice, they're very nice.
It's classy and eye-catching.
So Orchard met Simon at biggest cities. We go, I see you every time. So I'm glad you made it to Taft. So let's let you and Craig work out something and we'll go from there.
Very good. Well, I look forward to working with you.
He's been working with Mark, so Mark will be taking the lead on.
Mark's gonna take the lead?
He's been working with him.
Well, let's try to get something together
I don't
after
want
the
to
first
steal
year.
Mark's credit.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great. Okay, item number 2, citizens' request for public comments. I assume that you want to make a comment, okay. This is the time and place for the general public to address the city council on matters within its jurisdiction. State law prohibits the council from addressing any issue not previously included on the agenda. Council may receive comment and set the matter for a subsequent meeting. Please limit comments to 5 minutes. Dr. Kathy Orn with the Taft Chamber of Commerce and Visitors Bureau.
Hello. It's
Where
nice
you
to
been?
see you all. It's been a while.
Yeah, we've been here. Where you
Yes. Well, we had some surgeries to get through. Not mine, but other people's. And so it's a pleasure to be here with you tonight. This looks very nice here, by the way. I don't know. This is a new addition. Just thought I'd...
Go green.
Yes. Have you noticed this down here? Yes, this is very festive. Thank you. Well, we had a trout derby.
Huh?
My apologies to Doug Keeler and the folks at the Driller. We told them we were having one, and then we told them we weren't having one, and then we told them we were having one. And Doug called and said, "Kathy, you're killing me here." But we had a very, as it turns out, a very successful trout derby, so thank you, Orchel. Orchel braved the...
How many did you have to show up?
About 650.
Wow, that's good.
You know, it's very interesting. People called us and complained about the condition of the lake because as the water recedes during a drought, the weeds apparently get to be more plentiful. They appear to be more plentiful. And one fisher person told me, "I'm not going to throw my line into a pond that I can't even see." So we prevailed upon the county and they did some cleanup work, so that worked very well for everybody involved. So it's a very successful trout derby.
So you weren't out there with your weed whacker?
I was not,
Oh,
no.
that would've
I
been-
was out there with my fish weighing machine, but no, I didn't weed whack. Although that might have been effective, who knows, that's great. I want to tell folks about the existence of a small business academy that has started this evening. This was a grant written by the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce in cahoots with the Taft College, Taft Union High School, the Bakersfield Chamber, and the Taft Chamber. And it has become a reality. It is 8 meetings, 8 in Spanish and 8 in English. And it's for folks who want to start a business or who have started a business and would like to know how to do it correctly. And they are meeting on Tuesday nights at Buena Vista High School. And they will be doing that for 8 weeks. They'll take 2 weeks off for a Christmas break. But the English rendition meets on Wednesday nights, and that is still meeting at the boardroom at the chamber, and they will start tomorrow night. And this is free of charge. we're pretty excited. We outgrew the chamber boardroom within a week. I think we have upwards of 30 Hispanic folks who are taking advantage of this, and we're hoping we'll have about a dozen of us
Is that
English
new
folks.
entrepreneurs or existing too?
Well, it's a kind of a spectrum. There are some folks there that want to start a business, excuse me, but I recognize some people that are in business, and I also recognize some people who I did not recognize, but I recognize their speaking. It appears that they've been in business, but perhaps have not legitimatized their business with a business license. So this is a great opportunity for us. And the Chamber Board voted at their last meeting to offer a free chamber membership to anyone who successfully completes the course. So there's an incentive for folks to stay with it. So that's pretty cool. We're really excited about that. We will be offering on Friday, which is Cruise Night on Center Street. At Westside Furniture, we will have Pictures with Santa. Santa and Mrs. Santa will be there at 6 o'clock. The Westside ROP will be taking pictures of kids with Santa, and those will be offered free of charge. Parents can come by and pick them up at the chamber next week. So that's something that we do each year, and we're very happy to do that, and a lot of folks take advantage of that. So that will be happening this Friday at 6 o'clock. And then, of course, our parade is next Monday night at 6 o'clock, going down Center Street. Mr. Bob Colston is our Grand Marshal this year, and we surprised him at breakfast. Doug and I are getting pretty good at this. So he was very surprised and very humbled, so we're happy that he will be back from Hawaii in time to do this. So that worked out nicely. But our parade will be going down Center Street. It will be staging on Main Street, and this year the Midway Sunset Lions Club will be in charge of the staging, and all the service clubs in town will be helping out. So we invite all of you, and if you have not told Belinda that you will be in the parade, please do so tomorrow, because we're getting things set up for that. All right? Thank you.
Thanks, Kathy.
Good to see you again, Kathy. Thank you so much. Item number 3, council statements, non-action. Councilman Hill.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't hear you. I just wanted to mention that the Seroptimus Club is having their annual home tour on the 12th of December, and there are very few tickets still available. You will have to contact Seroptimus members. They have almost sold out. We could have a record of almost, I think we're going to have 28, maybe 30 tables this year. For those of you who have never gone, the luncheon we have a fashion show, we have a luncheon, and we have probably the most beautiful tables you've ever seen. At 8 o'clock, Old School will be opening. That's where the kickoff is. There'll be refreshments, then you'll get your map, and there are 5 beautiful homes. I've seen 2 of them already, and the trees are quite nice. There's also a Seroptimus Christmas tree raffle. Tickets are on sale at Jack's Flower Shop, Head of Class Bakery, Old School, and any Seroptimus member has them. They have 2 trees to raffle off this year, which the raffle will be at the Seroptimus luncheon. And I urge you, if you want to go, to get your tickets fast, because I think there's maybe 10 left. Thank you.
All right, Councilman Bryant.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a couple quick things. I'm looking forward to the parade on Monday, Kathy. I like the theme. The Star Wars is contemporary, but harkens back to a lot of the folks when it started back, was it 70s, 80s? So I'm looking forward to putting in my own unique...
remember that?
Well, I can't say I remember because I wasn't alive then, but I'm aware of it, I should say. I'm looking forward to my own unique entry, and I hope that it's... Are you going to be a judge?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's Seroptimus.
Okay. I gotta find out who I need to grease up a little bit.
She said you can get angry at Seroptimus.
Entries are due tomorrow.
Okay, I'll definitely get a hold of Shannon. I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. I'm looking forward to the parade, like I said. I love the idea of the Small Business Academy, so if you have a business and it's successful, what can it hurt to go check it out? I may build some relationships with folks around town that you may not have already known. So I'm going to go check that out. I'm looking forward to it. I'm really happy to have the signage guy here today. I know that's something we've been talking about, at least in committee for a while, and I know that we're not in the, we're not in the black, we're finally in the black from our financial straits. Doesn't mean we have a ton of money to spend, but I'd like that we're at least considering a plan. And so I appreciate you all for at least considering that, and I'm looking forward to be a part of that. And that's all I've got, Mr. Mayor. Thank you very much.
All right, well, thank you. Councilman Cryer.
Thank you, Mayor. Chamber did an excellent job putting it on. First it was on and off and on again. I mentioned the city council that was off, and I had to change that real quick, but I was pleasantly surprised how many people showed up, you know, coming in, and a nice day it was. But what most awe-struck me was how much fish they caught. This is probably one of the best years that I can remember, of these 10 years I've been helping out on the fishing derby, that they caught as many fish. A lot of them maxed out their limit. A lot of, there's some great big ones in there. There's probably, 7 or 8 that's over 5 pounds, 4 to 5 pounds they caught. And everybody's left smiling, the kids, and had their gift certificates and their little money they made for the smallest fish to the largest fish to the different categories and stuff. We all had a great time, and it's just a pleasure being part of it and seeing it be a good, wholesome family affair for people to participate in. And looking forward to this. I hope we continue this for forever, because it's a really good, to bring people from outside of Taft to hear about what we're doing here in the city. You know, it belongs to the people from far as San Diego came, a lot of people from LA, Fresno, on the coast. They all came to the Derby, so they all got to see. Hope they came to our little town, but it was a great adventure at the Derby there, and I'm glad it went through. And then we have our Christmas parade, and I'm sure you'll be hearing a lot about that this coming next Friday, not this Friday, but following Friday. And so everybody find their favorite spot and bring some warm clothing and some hot chocolate and enjoy the first Monday. Yeah, first Monday of the 7th. Excuse me. I was thinking of first Friday. But anyway, the Santa Claus will be there for that. But it's a great, things in Taft, there's a lot going on. You know, you just can't say that all throughout the seasons that we have here in Taft. There's so much for the family to participate and things to do, and emergency in our city, people can go to and purchase stuff and take advantage of it. Like our mayor always said, if we don't support them, we lose them. And they go out of business, and we need to support our businesses here in town, and be thankful for what we have. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman Norn.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Instead of going out of town this year, and typically we go to the desert or we go riding in the sand somewhere, our family spent the entire holiday weekend around Taft. And I want to thank you for the wonderful weather. I know the chamber was responsible for that, and I don't know about everybody else in these United States, but man, we had some weather for Thanksgiving. And I truly enjoy just staying around town. Every holiday, I'll tell you, I spend with my friend Greg Arts, who owns Arts Liquor, and he makes sure that all his employees get to spend the mornings of the holidays with their families. So Greg and I have coffee at about 4:30 every holiday morning, whether that holiday is Thanksgiving or Christmas or New Year's, and we did that, and that's a tradition that we have. I hadn't heard the weight of the winning fish. I want to make that public. What was the winning fish? Doug?
6, 8 or something.
I want to say 6'3".
6 pounds, 3 ounces.
Yeah, is that still right, Captain?
I think that's right. There was a kid with a 5-pounder, and that hung out to be the largest for a long time.
No.
I think the 6-pound.
Big fish, a lot of fun. I'm sure the kids all had a ball. One of the milestones, if you will, that we're getting ready to enjoy in the city of Taft, and I'm sure that city manager was going to talk about this, perhaps the mayor. I just wanted to say that They are real close. They being the people building the Best Western Plus Hotel in downtown Taft. And it's a beautiful facility. I've not been inside of it, so some of these guys have. But on the outside, it looks very appealing and very complimentary, and I do believe it is the right place to put it, and those decisions were made by a lot of people and with a lot of input. And I'm very excited that perhaps by the time we have the next city council meeting, they will have been approved to open. So I know we've been talking about this for a very long time in the city of Taft.
Not approved by us.
Not approved by us, no, by corporate.
Not
That is
waiting on
correct.
us.
Yeah, they're not waiting on us. So, very exciting news, and I look forward to seeing that happen. So it's been a long time in coming. Beyond that, I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving, and I look forward to seeing you at the annual Christmas parade, which I told Shannon I would be there today. Dr. Warren, thank you. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor, thank you.
Thank you. Typically in the past, sometimes at the fishing derby, it's a little too warm, and the fishing was really not very good. So I'm just assuming it was cooler, way cooler, and fishing was a lot better. So I'm happy a lot of people.
Water.
Yeah, 650, that's a good amount of people. That was very successful. So thank the chamber and thank you, Kathy, and all the volunteers that went out there. I was planning to go, but I had a very bad sciatic nerve pinched in my hip, and I was barely able to walk, so I didn't want a chance hobbling around out there. But all good now. Thanksgiving, I hope everybody, again, had a great Thanksgiving. I had planned for 14 people to stay at our house, and we were down to 4. So some people bailed out. We were just sitting down to eat. About 3 in the afternoon, there was this pounding on our front door. Lo and behold, my daughter from Omaha, she was in the Air Force, showed up. Very much a prize to all of us, so I'm so grateful. She had gotten back from a deployment overseas and spent her 2-week leave in Maui. So
Can't blame her there.
So I flew over and flew back over us, but she surprised us and came home, spent only 3 days and flew back, but had my son home. So it was a very thankful Thanksgiving for us, and we were very happy. Sad to see the hospital administration building go down, but you know, that building, much as it's been around Taft, it wasn't worth saving. There was too much work that had to be done to it. So the healthcare district's got some plans for a new campus up there, expanding the urgent care, and hopefully a bigger facility, have maybe some room for primary care physicians to be there too, and maybe hopefully we'll get some expanded hours. So we have a new doctor, I think his name is Dr. Lee, is the new medical director there, and he's moved up and then in place, and we have a new medical director out at the CCF, so, you know, Thanksgiving was good to us, and we're rolling along here, so that's all I have. Move on to item number 4, Planning Commission report. Jerry, you got something to?
Not a lot tonight.
Would you introduce yourself, please?
Yes, Jerry Livingston, Planning Commissioner, Mayor, members of the council. It was a brief meeting in preparation for tomorrow night's meeting. We had the last review of changes made to the housing element. Housing element is a portion of the general plan. It'll be before the Planning Commission tomorrow night, and I believe immediately coming 2 weeks later to you guys for final approval. That was the sum of the evening. I think it's going to be a little bit busier night tomorrow night when we get to actually do the full review of the document. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry. Item number 5, department reports. Mark?
Thank you, Mayor Miller. Mark Staples, Planning Director. You should have in front of you a copy of the final design plans or preliminary design plans of the transit center. And there's 2 different copies, and they may look like the same at first, but you'll notice one has the transit center building to the left and the park and ride to the right as an alternative design. As we've been going through the, I guess you could say, the vetting process of getting an architect on board, possibly switching the sites has come up as a possible design change here. And it's been discussed with the city manager, and there's some other opportunities that might come up by switching the two sites. One thing that kind of helped out was a comment that Mayor Pro Tem Noor made a couple months back, in that since it's so close to the monument, making sure that the monument and the building are complementary of one another, or whatever the final design of the transit center building doesn't clash with the quality of work on that monument. So something that came up was, as you can see, there's a bit of a plaza area to the left of the building, kind of utilizing the indoor-outdoor space between, because we've been trying to have a meeting room in this building, not just for the transit folks, but for also other city departments that may need it, and occasionally maybe renting out to somebody else who might need it as well, like Oil Dorado events or whatever it may be. So one thing that's pretty effective is having an indoor-outdoor type use.
Well, one of the things people have to understand is that when we had the original conceptual plan, that the parking area wasn't a parking lot for the monument or the park. It's kind of like a dial ride lot, and that's what it's intended for. So it didn't really matter which side of the building that is on, so we've just kind of switched it over and really not made it change too much. We'll probably have to make some
Well, we would still
difference in
also,
footprint a little
on
bit.
the north side, we would put a sidewalk to connect the parking lot to the monument.
Yeah.
And then also, we talked about putting some more handicap parking at the monument. Right. To reserve those spots directly around the monument for handicapped elderly folks.
Right.
And then the rest of the able-bodied people could obviously park and walk 100 feet.
And we've got quite a few parking spots around the monument in the first place, so.
Right, but that's, like the city manager said, having close, flat ground, not on the street, handicap parking, we'd at least provide that.
But one of the ideas that the architect, they worked on numerous projects like this, and what other municipalities have done, and he pointed out that we have a perfect area for a, continuing the park setting out from the meeting room, and he showed some examples of basically their, I don't want to call them garage doors, but that's what they look like, but they don't look like garage doors when they're closed, but they're glass walls. You push a button, they open up, and it would allow the outdoor and indoor part to be as one. So what the certain municipalities did is they use them for various things, including renting the venue out as a revenue generator to help offset the maintenance and operation cost of the building, the PG&E, and those type of things. And when we finally select our architect, they can bring those design ideas to the council so you guys can look at them. But the idea would be, if the council so choose to match some money to the grant money for the expansion part of this, it would be an investment to the area, to the oil worker monument. And like Mark pointed out, they want to complement the oil worker monument and kind of incorporate, they already understand that we're looking for that late 1800s train depot look, but we also wanted to match the oil worker monument, including the colors and the brick design, even going as far as using the stamped wood concrete for the wood planks to look like the old train depot, those type of things. They were kind of excited about the project. And once they pointed out the opportunities that we have that we overlooked, it was obvious that we should look at something like that, for the staff. So that was kind of, we already told the council what we were doing with them flip-flop, so tonight we're asking for your consideration to.
Well, I think you have that, but you'll need to come back with us some numbers and maybe.
Well, the projects are already funded, so.
Even if we flip it around?
We could flip them around and build them exactly the way we are. It would still include the plaza over by the monument, so it would still work. The meeting room could still be on that side. But what we're talking about, instead of a 30, 35-person meeting room, is expanding that to something larger that can be used.
And that's outside the grant money.
It would be outside the grant money. There would be a price per square foot that it would cost, and that would be brought up.
Okay.
So we know what the construction costs are, but we don't want to use all the grant money for something that's not going to benefit transit. Obviously, it was transit related, but transit would still be able to use it, but we'd also be able to use it for public
Multi-purpose.
uses too.
I think it's smart to switch those two, have the parking lot on the east side versus the west side. That way you have the view from that outdoor space of the monument, making it just a little bit more attractive.
The one thing we don't have on the trail close to that area right now is outdoor bathrooms. This facility would have outdoor public restrooms for people. It also have indoor restrooms for the staff.
It'd be a great idea to take advantage of the venue. Great idea.
Absolutely.
More of that,
It just keeps improving.
I
as
see
we
a
move
lot of
forward.
wedding pictures being taken at the monument right now.
Oh, yes.
Pictures.
Well, we gotta understand that there is a transit building, and in fact, that's where we're gonna park our buses and stuff. So there would be fencing, I assume some sort of chain link fencing slats in it. Maybe some, vegetation going up.
Yeah, we're looking more
Vine
towards
work.
some kind of decorative fencing with some type of vegetation hide the fencing. The partition between the building, that would probably be more of a wrought iron, electric gate kind of situation. Nothing that would look too industrial.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I don't want to say that, but it's not, it wouldn't clash if you wanted to have a nice venue there.
Sure.
Good.
All right, any other questions?
Great.
Good idea.
All right, thank you, Mark.
Good catch. Good idea.
Any other department reports? Moving on to item number, oh, there we
Just
go.
for good news, since we were mentioning the close to opening Best Western Hotel, track 727, Phase 1, otherwise known as Sandy Creek Estates, recorded today. So there is a recorded map for Sandy Creek Estates now.
And that means for
They
public?
can sell the houses that are being built out there.
Okay.
So, and they submitted 3 more houses this week, so things are still moving on that track.
More rooftops, new rooftops. That's wonderful news.
I know one individual family that will be moving out of a house trailer soon to, or RV trailer to their new house. They're probably more excited about it than we are.
Good news. Item number 7, city attorney statements. Mr. Epperson.
Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you.
I had one thing.
Oh, I'm sorry, I jumped over you.
Well, I kind of made my statement, but I'll,
Been talking. Item number 6,
rare,
city
huh?
manager statements.
just a FYI for the city council, the USDA finally approved our plans and specs for our upgrade to our wastewater treatment plant. So they have allowed us to move on to the bid documents and final signing of all the plans, and we will soon be advertising for contractors to bid on that project. So, been a long time coming, 3-4 years we've been working on trying to get that plant upgraded. The city went out for a very low-interest loan with USDA. We assumed that it was going to be quick and easy since it was a loan, not a grant, but it proved to be a very tedious process with the USDA.
Well, it's job security for them.
Finally at the end of the road with them, so the county has signed the plans. I signed the plans today, so we'll be moving forward with
First of the year or so, or check in the mail kind of thing, or we have
yeah,
to
I
wait?
think the bid openings we have set for late January.
Okay, cool. All right, anything else?
No, that's all I got, thank you.
All right, thank you. Item number 8, future agenda requests. Does any council member have a future agenda request they'd like to have added?
I do.
Mr. Bryant?
I would just like to ask for concurrence on having the city attorney bring forward maybe an update or some small modifications to our door-to-door sales policies or ordinance within the city. I know we've had an influx, at least annually, and quite often of guys, specifically out-of-town people, coming to town, maybe being pushy or not using the best sales tactics when they're trying to make a sale, that I think we can close a little bit of a loophole. So I don't-
Do we have some sort of, where we require them to wear something, or have an ID
When
from the
they-
city, or?
Well, they have a business
Permit?
license, and when they come to the city, generally, it's one company that has multiple salesmen. So they come to City Hall, require a copy of their driver's license, some personal information on the people that are actually doing the sales, and they do get a copy of the business license. The problem that we have is part of our city code says that door-to-door salesmen are a nuisance, and then the other part of the business license, we give them a license to do it. There are some civil rights case law that says that you just can't, a city just can't say you can't have door-to-door salesmen. They have rights, obviously, like everybody else.
But we certainly
has
can
rights.
license them.
Well, we can regulate them.
Yeah.
So the idea is, we're looking at regulating them by time. Basically, you can't go knocking on people's door at 9 o'clock at night. Private property owners have the right to obviously refuse, talk to them, hang signs. If they ask them to leave, they don't leave. Obviously, they're trespassing. So there's some areas that we have.
Well, the other thing is what we brought up is, hi, where's your city business license? And if they don't have one, you say,
We
see ya,
get complaints
get off
on the
my
same
property.
company every year,
Yeah.
and it's a group of individuals selling cleaning supplies. Some of them tend to be very aggressive. Some of them think it's a bright idea to knock on people's doors at 9 o'clock at night when people are watching TV with their families, and they get aggressive when they open the door, or people's kids open the door, then they walk in their living room, the people are standing in their living room because a 5-year-old answered the door, they get a little upset, so. We're thinking if we shut them off early in the afternoon, that it'll alleviate a lot of those problems, and that way if people get door knocks late at night, the police can tell these people.
For you folks out in the county, we can't do anything for you, so you're gonna have to talk to the county if they're coming to your door in the county area, so we're gonna try to tighten it up here. Maybe if we have some strong ordinance that will discourage them from even coming to the area, so.
Well, sorry to interject, Mr. Mayor. I have no problem with somebody trying to make a living.
No.
You know, if you do it the right way, I have no problem with that, and then God bless you. If you got a good product, I'll buy it, or something I see as value in. But what I don't want to do is to have it used as a facade for people to be casing the area. When I came home after having someone come to my door about 3 hours after, I told them no thank you. I saw the young lady sitting in the darkest part of the town, just hanging out. It didn't seem right to me. So I approached her and let her know that, you know, there's eyes on you. But if we can do something as a city to make sure that that's addressed, I would appreciate it.
I know a lot of people in town, if you knock on their house at 9 o'clock at night and they don't know who you are, you're probably gonna have Mr. Glock in your face anyway, so.
Well, we don't want to discourage the kids from the schools coming and selling
Absolutely.
candy and that kind of stuff. So we've got to, kind of, as a metaphor, work both sides of the street.
Yeah, that's
here.
why we gotta look at an ordinance that's fair to everybody, but prevents the unwanted, I don't think there's any kids selling candy after dark, generally, so. And in the wintertime, it gets dark fairly early, so.
The cleaning guys, conscious.
We'll just say it's for their
Well,
protection.
I'll give concurrence to Mr. Bryant's,
I'll review the different options and see what's available that can be reasonable and help Taft, and I'll go over it with city staff. We'll return to you with some
we might
different options.
troll a couple other cities, see what, if
We
they've got
looked
them
today,
in
we've
place.
already looked in a little bit of, there's a lot of information. Apparently, there's been a lot of cities that have these problems with, and there's a lot of civil rights. Just like anything else, we tell them they can't do something and they want to sue.
Yeah, But they come on somebody's property, they have rights too, so.
Exactly, and that's where it's up to the citizens. If someone's on your property and you don't want them there, you have the right to tell them to leave. And if they don't leave, they're trespassing. Regardless if they have a city business license or they don't.
Okay, well,
Thank you.
we'll be looking into it, so that's good. Anybody has any other agenda items they might want? Okay. Then we move on to item 9 through 14, that's the consent calendar. All items listed on the consent calendar shall be considered routine and will be enacted by one roll call vote. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a member of the city council requests specific items to be removed from the consent calendar for separate action. Any item removed from the consent calendar will be considered after the regular business items. Are there any items on the consent calendar that any member of the public would like to comment on? Seeing none, we'll move on. Here we go. Item number 9, minutes of the November 17th regular meeting. Item number 10, payment of bills. Looks like about almost $600,000. Item number 11, street closures for the 2015 Christmas parade on December 7th. Item 12, agreement with Govern West. Motion to approve the next, execute a professional service agreement with them. Item 13, consent to participate in the California Office of Emergency Service, Cal OES 1033 program for federal excess property. And that's a resolution considering approving the Taft Police Department's partition in the 1033 program for requiring federal excess property. And item number 14, California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, contract amendment number 5. So, is there anybody wishing to remove one item from the consent calendar? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar items 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14.
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk, will you take roll call, please?
Mayor Pro Tem North,
Yes.
Councilmember Pryor,
Yes.
Councilmember Bryant,
Yes.
Councilmember Hill,
Yes.
Mayor Miller.
Yes. That passes on a 5-0 vote, thank you. We are now at the end of our regular meeting, and we'll be going into closed session. We have 3 items tonight. Item A, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation. That's always fun to read. Government Code Section 54956.9B, 2 potential cases. Item B, conference with labor negotiator Craig Jones, city manager, Government Code 54957.6, all units. Item C, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, Government Code Section 54956.9A, Sierra Club versus City of Taft and the Taft City Council. Thank you so much. Be safe out there. We're